exciting to be speaking with her, especially because she's someone who's been so vocal about this for years and years. And it's interesting because, you know, one of the things she said the last time we spoke with her here on News Now was that it took a male comedian to really get this out into the public spotlight. You know, Hannibal Buress made a joke about it on stage. What was it, in like October or November? And next thing you know, this whole scandal has sort of blown up. People actually flashing the spotlight on Bill Cosby, trying to get to the bottom of these allegations. A lot of people still standing by him, and then next thing you know, we learn about the admission of Quaaludes, and then this New York Times revelation over the course of the weekend. And it looks like every single person that had once stood by Bill Cosby no longer wants to associate with him, whether it's a person, whether it's a friend, whether it's a company, whether it's, I mean, just today or in the last day or so, I learned that the last project associated with Cosby has also pulled Cosby from its project. It was a documentary, and Bill Cosby was in it because Bill Cosby talked about the time that he was working on a show, and they had hired a white man to do the stunts for Bill Cosby, a white man who had painted himself in blackface. Bill Cosby, you know, was concerned, and the next thing you know, he got that person fired and actually got a black stuntman hired. So, you know, something like that. I mean, it has really just affected his public image, his opportunities in the entertainment field, and I believe it looks like Barbara is ready. Barbara, if you hear me, just give me a nod. And it does look like she is ready, so let's touch base with Miss Barbara Bowman. Barbara, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for allowing me to continue to share my story.
Yeah, we really appreciate you joining us here on Fox 10 News Now. I know we spoke with you a couple weeks ago. A lot of people asking follow-up questions ever since, I mean, I'm sure you read the New York Times article on Saturday, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that about what happened Saturday?
Oh, the New York Times article.
I know what happened Saturday, but what was your specific question?
Oh,
well, yes, of course. I just like to be clear on what the question exactly is. And I lost audio.
All right.
I just lost audio.
All right, let me repeat.
You're back.
Yes,
You're back.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to do that question once more. Rachel, one of our viewers, saying, question for Barbara. Since the last interview and the information revealed, how does she handle seeing this information on a national scale and her attacker's face in the media?
I don't feel attacked any longer. I spent 28 years being attacked, and certainly in the last 10 years being viciously, well, ignored, really, I should say. And then in the last 7 months is really when some of the vicious attacks began. But I ignore the haters. It's not a problem. I spend a lot of time patiently pursuing the truth. And it's victorious and validating to know and hear and see that my attacker, my rapist, has admitted it, and we have a big road ahead of us. So I look at this as an opportunity to keep creating awareness and educating people on sexual assault.
All right, thanks for that answer. So as we have been talking about here on the show this morning, a lot of new information coming out after Saturday's New York Times article, where basically the New York Times got their hands on that full deposition and really just revealed to the world Bill Cosby's pursuits, his use of drugs, him admitting that he did give drugs, that him and this woman had sex, but again, he claims it was consensual. What's your take on everything that was sort of revealed in that Times article?
Well, I have a lot to say, so I'll try and be concise. First of all, we are dealing with a predator. And Bill Cosby, whether he likes to admit it or not, he's now created a new legacy for himself as a catalyst for new awareness on sexual health issues and how we approach sex education with our young people. We're talking about a classic sociopath. Sociopathic behavior is very diabolical and manipulative, and it isn't always ugly in your face. It actually can be quite alluring and charming and charismatic, and it's building a body of trust with your victim. So being that victim, I feel that I have some knowledge about how this process works. The grooming process is meticulous and quiet and subdued and can be seductive. And I don't use the word seductive in the sexual sense, but there's seduction that goes on where there's, laying the groundwork to create safety zones that are false. And then the crime is perpetrated, and then the perpetrator begins to believe everything that he is saying, even under the pressure of being under oath. So the proof is in the pudding, if you'll pardon the pun.
Apple Snapple has a question for you, Barbara. Do you feel that people are more likely to have victim's guilt when the attacker is more well known? That's a good question, Apple.
Well, of course, that is definitely what kept me silent for so long, and that's another whole topic and subject to dive into, but briefly, absolutely, it's a control measure right off the bat. We're dealing with dominance, control, celebrityism, fame, money. He had layers of circles of protection to allow him to perpetrate like this. And I was threatened. I was threatened into silence, and I was coerced into acts and into silence afterwards. And as a young actress, between the ages of 17 and 19 years old, I was in a business relationship with him that was coordinated through my agent. And these were trusted individuals. And so my duty as a young actress who had worked hard to want to rise above, rise to the next level, I was given this incredible opportunity to be with the biggest, a celebrity in the world at the time, and who was known at the time as Dr. Huxtable, the most trusted man on earth. So, yes, I was under a lot of pressure, and I certainly was in no position to go telling my story when I was told I wouldn't be believed, and when I did tell, indeed, I was not believed.
You just touched upon it briefly, Barbara, but for viewers who don't know your story, can you elaborate on your experiences with Bill Cosby?
I can try to do that in a brief amount of time as well. My agent introduced me to him when I was 17 in Denver, Colorado. My agent, Joe Farrell, claimed that they had been friends for 25 years, and because he was Dr. Huxtable, it was like meeting a long-lost father or something. I mean, there was just this level of trust that began going in. However, within 30 minutes of our meeting or our audition, he had me do an improv exercise that involved me wetting down my hair, closing my eyes, putting on a man's t-shirt, and a lot of just inappropriate behaviors and stroking. When he zeroed right in on the fact that I was an only child, had no father figure, and I had vulnerability issues and trust issues. And so when this process was going on, he would explain to me that I need to relax. And if I'm going to be an effective actress and do it authentically, I've got to really trust him. So I would flinch during that, and he'd say, no, you can't flinch, just relax. So it was a mind trip. It was brainwashing and grooming right from the start. And then it progressed. I went on several out-of-town trips, also under the pretense of mentoring me and preparing me for the next level to basically measure my maturity level to be in the company of celebrities to see if I was qualified to be a celebrity. And it just it just progressed from there, and then, you know, we had the fateful rape, awful, horrible night in New York City, and then Atlantic City, which is what was the fateful, you know, severing of the relationship, the business relationship, and that's it on that.
All right.
However, I will add this.
What's that?
The very first thing that I was required to do when I got back to Denver, because he severed the business relationship ties, was take a pregnancy and drug test.
Oh, wow. Actually, you touched upon it briefly in regards to the brainwashing involved in it. One of our viewers actually followed up, Deborah, asking, how did this affect, or did it affect your mental health and well-being?
I'm so glad someone asked me that finally. I made it a mission in my life to not let this define me as a woman, or to steal anything away from my opportunities or my drive. So I've been a very strong-willed woman all of my life, and that's a choice to not be victimized and let that victimization run your world is a choice. So that was my choice. However, that doesn't mean that I don't have bad and dark days. I try to treat this issue professionally and with dignity and professionalism all the time. And when the cameras are rolling, my job is to communicate this story and to communicate education and awareness on sexual predatory behaviors. But honestly, you know, I've got I get nightmares, I don't sleep well, and after I get off camera, it's my job to do this. You know, I got to go through that unwinding and downtime, and there's some anxiety and little depression that I battle with now and again, but for the most part, it does not own me. And it shouldn't own any victim. In fact, that's part of re-victimization, is when you let your perpetrator continue to take space in your soul.
Barbara, you touched upon how, you know, just it's part of your job to explain your experience and work with victims and talk about this, and it can be difficult for you personally. I do want to just say Rachel wants to let you know that you have helped her with her own healing, confidence, and taking steps after her own experiences with sexual assault. So I did want to communicate that on behalf of one of our viewers who just sent that in.
Thank you.
And
that's what this is all about. That's why I went full speed ahead in the first place, is just to empower other victims and women. And I work with PAVE as an ambassador, and I'd love to promote that organization more if we have time later. But that's what we're here for, is it's about communication, education, support, and all I wanted to do was help one woman, but I'm realizing now I'm helping a lot of women, and that's fantastic. I'm blessed.
Right.
I'm grateful.
You mentioned helping women now, and
Thank you, Rachel.
You're doing this and helping a lot of women out there. Was that the primary reason that brought you to the point of just wanting to come out and tell your story? I mean, Eduardo here, one of our other viewers, asking what led you to come out in the first place and even admit that you were a victim of Bill Cosby?
Well, it started back in 2005. Mine happened when I was a teenager. So, you know, 17 years had passed really before anyone was really listening. But in 2005, Andrea Constand was the brave woman from Temple University in Philadelphia who reported her sexual assault. And I'm minding my own business here in Arizona with a baby and a toddler, and I read that another woman came forward with the same allegations that I had, and I went crazy, and I made it my life's mission to move on and to support her and to make this a humanitarian and public awareness issue. So yes, my mission from day one was to empower. So briefly, back in 2005, I reached out to Andrea's attorney and was put on a list of 13 other women who at that point were Jane Does. That means they were too afraid and to reveal their identity. And I just went out there front and center and I said, I'm not a Jane Doe, but I'm on a mission to pull out some of those other Jane Does. If I can empower at least one of them, or all of them, that's all I really wanted to do. My statute of limitations was years gone by. There was no monetary incentive whatsoever. It was to expose his predatory behaviors, his crimes, and to empower these women to tell their story and not to feel like they have to hide in shame and darkness and silence anymore. That was it then, and that's what it remains, and that's what it will be in the future until the day I die.
We're getting another follow-up question, this one from Hapalea. She's asking, was it hard for you to go back into Hollywood after your experience with Bill Cosby? Were you apprehensive in terms of going on auditions or interacting with anyone in the industry, really?
Oh, these are such great questions. There was certainly an element of living in some fear and kind of looking over my shoulder and wondering if I was being followed and that sort of stuff. But really, after I went back home and regrouped and took a breather and came back to New York with a fresh attitude, I pretty much just said, listen, this is not going to bring me down. This is the career that I want. This is the career that I worked for. This is what I've strived for, and this will not stop me. So I did have a relatively successful stint in the acting world for about 15 years, did lots of commercials, some TV and film. And that was for me, because that's what I wanted to do in the first place. And I just did not want that experience to ruin my dream. So, you know, I wasn't going to be listened to or believed anyway. So I had to file it away and just say, you know what, it's just another battle, another something to put aside and not get in my way. I just always looked at it as an obstacle that I had to cross. That's a good question. I like that one.
A follow-up to that question, were you still in the acting world in Hollywood when you came out and told your story, or had you moved on to another career path at that point?
Well, let's just repeat again that I never really kept it a secret per se, even though he threatened me. I had no shame about it necessarily, depended on the circles, but I pursued my acting career through major cities, New York, LA, Miami, and I pursued my acting career and then eventually retired in about 2006 or 7, working a little bit here in Arizona. And now I'm an artist. I run a business here in Scottsdale. I'm an abstract expressionist artist and a busy mom of 2 teenagers.
Oh, well, where can viewers see
and
your
working hard
art?
To pursue.
No, I'm actually really interested. I didn't know that you were doing art here in the Valley.
Yes, I do. I like to keep it separate. I do some advertising, and I do local shows, and I do commissioned work and stuff like that. But I do like to keep that conversation separate.
Very understandable. Well, back to our conversation at hand. Deborah asking, do you suspect Bill was
Sure.
still behaving this way after, or rather before he was exposed, like in the last decade or so?
I'm going to have to contemplate and assume and imagine that answer would be of course. That's just, I have no idea, because I haven't been involved with him in many, many years. He would have to answer that question.
Right. Hapalea following up with another question for you. She wants to know, have you, Barbara, met with any other victims? And did he sort of do this or have the same pattern when it came to approaching his alleged victims?
One thing to keep in mind is that once a predator, always a predator, and they will usually stick to the same MO. They may deviate a little here and there if they feel the heat is on, or they're getting a little into dangerous territory, detract the scent that they put on their trail. But mostly our stories, from what I know, is that they're either identical or eerily similar, or carry the same characteristic behaviors, which is consistent with a predator's MO. They pick one and they stick to it for the most part. I think the other part of the question was, have I had contact with the other ladies? And I have. I've been blessed to be able to have met a few of them under professional circumstances.
Eduardo has a question for you. Now, before all this information came to light, was it difficult for others to actually believe your story? Or were most people you discussed this with fairly believing of the story, your experience?
I believe, if I understand your question the right way, is what was the response to my community, perhaps? I'll answer it that way, that the people of my community, my family, and friends and colleagues, people close to me, all were extremely supportive, mostly because they know that I'm an honest woman with integrity, and it was not a surprise to some. There's always going to be haters. The Twitters were like blowing up, and tweets and retweets and back and forth, and I didn't really pay much attention to that stuff, and you just can't. If you let that stuff infiltrate your soul, it just poisons you, and you cannot listen to that. And I don't know, I can keep on going with that one, but we can carry on.
All right, this question is coming from our viewer Super Smalls, asking, since the statute of limitations in your case and some others have come and gone, what are you hoping to achieve now that we know Bill Cosby won't be charged in your specific situation?
Well, I have no crystal ball on that. I don't know. We have teams of people that that are actively pursuing this situation. Every individual, every woman is individual. Each story is individual and is being handled individually. But for me, I want to, I'm working very, very hard at advocacy work, doing a lot of public speaking, focusing on high school students and college students, educating not just young women on how to clue into red flags and to avoid being violated or raped or drugged. That's serious. But also to focus on the young men, the young boys, and encouraging fathers to have conversations with their sons. And so I'm doing this actively through PAVE, which stands for Promoting Awareness, Victims Empowerment. And we're a national nonprofit organization. We're very media-driven for legislative change and support and education. And I work with the women in Hollywood. And I want to bridge the gap between young talent and the industry professionals who, when it happened to me, none of my entertainment industry leaders helped me at all. So I'm out to educate and support, and that's my mission, because this is a journey that will never end. Cease and desist of rape, is going to be an ongoing journey. The idea is to teach about consent and what does that mean, defining that, and just to educate. So as far as Bill Cosby is concerned, this isn't about him anymore. He was the lightning rod. He was the catalyst to helping me do what I do and helping others what they do to spread the word and keep young people safe.
All right. Well, Apple Snapple just wants to let you know, Barbara, you seem like an extremely strong woman. I'm glad you came out and told your experience and maybe help others, both men and women, report sexual
Thank you.
assault and rape. Deborah, following up with a question.
Yes.
Do you have a daughter, and if so, what would your message be to her?
I do have a daughter, and she's 13 and a half years old, and she is, I describe her as 13 going on 30. She's one of the wisest women I know. That brings tears to my eyes because she's an amazing young woman, and she comes with me on speaking tours. So when this all came up, it was news to her last November. She was 12 then. There was no reason for her to know, but it came up, and I was going public and national within 24 hours. So I sat her and my 15-year-old son down and explained everything, and no secrets, and explained what's coming their way. So she's been an amazing assistant, helper, friend, and leader to me. She teaches me things every day. And so I think that what I'm doing now is one of the best gifts that I can give her. So thanks for asking that question.
We really appreciate your response to that question, Barbara. Do you have any final thoughts to leave with our viewers here watching? It's just an honor to be in this position. I try to, I look at it as just a battle in life, a pretty severe battle, but no victory or battle was ever won without some bumps and scrapes and scratches and broken pieces along the way. The key is just to, fix those broken pieces, stay strong, don't let things get in your way. And I'm available. I'm public, I'm available. I work with PAVE as an ambassador. Our website is www.shatteringthesilence.org. And we're working on a new website right now, so I think it's been reported it's a little sketchy right now, so be patient with it, but we're working hard on it, and we have advocates, we have helpers, we have support teams, we have a huge network of resources for people that need help. So if something is going on in your life or you know someone, speak up, tell someone, and if no one's listening, tell somebody else. And if that person doesn't believe you, tell somebody else. Just don't stop talking until someone believes you and listens to you, because people are listening. You just might have to search for them. So this has just been an incredible journey for me. So I thank you for the opportunity to be here. Well, thank you so
for
much
me to
for
be here.
joining us. And I just want to let you know, you have some of our viewers in tears
Thank
with your
you.
emotional story. So we really appreciate you sharing all this information. And hopefully we'll be able to chat with you again soon.
It's important.
All right. Well, thank you
I
so
hope
much.
so too. All right. Great. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye. All right, guys, that was Barbara Bowman. Really appreciate her taking the time out of her day to join us here on Fox News Now. I want to thank all of you viewers as well for asking such intelligent, insightful questions. You heard it from Barbara herself when she, complimented you on some of the questions you guys asked. So thank you guys for that. You guys make Fox News Now what it is, the first of its kind interactive news format. So we really appreciate that.